I would definitely have to say that one of the most fascinating characters, to me at least, in the sequel trilogy has got to be the character of Supreme Leader Snoke, portrayed by Andy Serkis. This is Mike Zero. If you guys are new to the channel, do make sure to subscribe to see future Star Wars content. Now, one thing that a lot of people are very curious about when it comes to this film is exactly how both JJ and Chris Terrio will be tying this movie into the prequels and the originals itself. Now, these past couple of weeks or so, we've been learning a whole lot more about this film when it comes to some of the set leaks, the set designs, the concept art and storyboard descriptions, etc. One of which has all to do with Supreme Leader Snoke, his new appearance, and Ben Solo. Specifically, a description of Supreme Leader Snoke sitting on his throne with a black robe and hood over his head, leaving the top portion of his face in the shadows. The next goes over a rear shot of Snoke watching a figure exiting the elevator. It's described as Ben Solo in shredded Jedi robes. This indicates that this is the first time both Ben and Snoke met physically. Another goes over Snoke in his black robe with golden gloves, standing in front of Ben Solo, kneeling down to him. It is very reminiscent to when Anakin kneeled before Sidious in Revenge of the Sith. The last shows us a closer look at Snoke with the hood over his head, with less injuries and streaks of fine, thin, blonde hair hanging from the top of his head down to his nose. So this is where things get very interesting for sure. Now, we do know that J.J. Abrams plans on introducing the concept of flashbacks and visions and dream sequences once again in Star Wars Episode 9. In case you guys did not know this, J.J. Abrams loves to do this in all of the projects that he has actually worked on before in the past. You know, he loves flashbacks, and that's exactly why he brought it to Episode 7. So essentially, you know, the format of the flashbacks in the sequel trilogy is that each flashback has little teases or little pieces to the puzzle of what's going to be shown next in the next film. You know, in The Force Awakens, we got little glimpses of Luke's Jedi Temple. We didn't really see too much of it. We just saw a little glow of fire on the side. Then in The Last Jedi, we saw the full thing on fire, for a great example there. So what's really intriguing now, it seems as so that they are going all out when it comes to the flashbacks and the visions, etc., to tell us the moments in between the originals and the sequels themselves. Now, what I find very intriguing, though, is Snoke's new appearance in Star Wars Episode 9, if this does indeed make it to the final cut of the movie, where he has less injuries, a black robe, and a black hood over his head, where he actually does have some hair left. Now, the blonde hair does make sense if you look at the character of Snoke very closely, especially in the BTS footage that goes over the visual effects. You can see that portions of his eyebrows are actually blonde, very fine hairs, and you can actually see that he once actually was a person that had hair. After all, he's a humanoid. You know, he's not like a complete alien per se. He has that humanoid look. So the thing here is this, a lot of people are starting to wonder exactly who he is. Is he Darth Plagueis? Is he somebody associated, or that was associated with the New Republic as a politician, and maybe he was disfigured perhaps from the napkin bombing that we actually heard about in one of the novels called Bloodline by Claudia Gray, which goes into all the politics of Star Wars 5 years before The Force Awakens. Now, the next thing that I do want to go over is the mention of Ben Solo entering Snoke's throne room in shredded Jedi robes. Now, this is most certainly after the pretty much slaughter of Luke's new generation of Jedi. And you can actually hear it in the background if you guys do listen very carefully. You can actually hear this in the background, where you actually do hear a lot of Luke's students getting killed off. You know, you even hear a woman scream, which a lot of people think that that girl may be Mara, that's taken away by Kylo Ren and eventually is going to be the lead knight of Ren in Episode 9. Now, what I find very fascinating about the character of Snoke is how both Andy Serkis, Rian Johnson, and JJ, they all know the backstory to Snoke, and they're holding it for a specific reason. If they ever wanted to tell his backstory in a future film in this trilogy, or if they wanted to tell the entire backstory of Snoke in a new trilogy, or in the form of other pieces of canon out there. Now, we do know that we're going to be learning a whole lot more about this character by November of this year, with the Age of, I believe it's Resistance comic line, that goes over an entire issue dedicated to Supreme Leader Snoke that will bring in a lot of revelations and new facts about the character's past. So that's one thing to look forward to, absolutely, right before the release of Episode 9. It's very suspicious, right? Why would they drop that right before episode 9? It does make one wonder. The last thing that I do want to go over is, of course, how Snoke has the black robe. Again, he is very much like Sidious. Now, the thing here, if you look at him in The Last Jedi, he's got that golden robe, right? It's more, you know, it's very unique of what Rian Johnson tried to do and what J.J. Abrams came up with as well in the form of a hologram. If you look at everything that has been happening in the past, we do know that Snoke went through some changes by Rian Johnson. He changed J.J. Abrams' version of the character, and he even changed Kylo Ren's scar. So that's the only thing that I have a problem with the sequels, is that there's a lot of back and forth with the continuity. Anyways, guys, drop a comment below. Let me know what you think about all of this in the comments. And if you guys did enjoy the content for today, do make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel. I thank you all so very much for the kind support, and I'll catch you guys next time.